Hi everyone, and welcome to your real estate market update for July of 2025 for Simcoe County and parts of Muskoka. What we're going to do today is we're going to zoom out, we're going to look at what's going on a macro level, and then we'll dive into some specific regions in both Simcoe County and Muskoka to see what's really going on. And not only that, I'll explain the stats as I go. I'll do a general overview while we do the macro sections of each county, and then once we dive into those specific communities, you'll know what we're talking about, so you'll be able to pull from that what you need to pull if you're thinking about buying and selling in either one of those regions. Real quick before I dive in, my name is Ben Robitaille. I am a realtor based out of Midland, Ontario. I service Simcoe County and parts of South Muskoka. If you have questions about real estate anywhere in Canada, I can help at least get you pointed in the right direction and connect you with people to help you make the best move going forward. I've got a link in the description of this video where you can book a call directly with me, just a quick 15 minutes to chat, see where you're at, no sales pitches, just good old-fashioned advice. So without further ado, let's dive in. So we've got Simcoe County pulled up here, properties for sale, no leases. This is all property types, all beds and baths. The first thing I like to look at is months of inventory. Now what months of inventory is it takes the number of active listings in a month divided by the number of sales to give us how many months it would take for all those listings to be bought. If it's less than 3 months of inventory, we are in a seller's market. If it's 3 to 6 months of inventory, we are in a balanced market, and 6+ months, we are in a buyer's market. So we can see here for June, we're at 7.19 months of inventory for all of Simcoe County. So if we zoom out, we can see that Simcoe County is generally just into that buyer's market area. Buyers have a little bit more negotiating power, but one caveat here is you've got to remember specific communities might differ a little bit. Like if we go to Tiny Township, usually months of inventory there is quite high. Whereas if we go to Barrie proper, Midland proper, that number might come down a little bit. But it's good to know what's going on a more macro level as well. So months of inventory at 7.19, our median price hasn't moved too much at 735. Average price, this is since 2024, so don't take too much stock in that, but 813. Number of active listings, you can see our cyclical market. Things get a little bit busier spring through summer, quiet off in the winter. But for June, we had 5,705 active listings, and our median days on market, it kind of goes opposite of our active listings, but you can see we're at about 26 days for June as well. Now let's pop over to Muskoka and see what they have going on. Muskoka, again, is very seasonal. You can see even a little bit more so than Simcoe County. For June, they had 1,502 active listings. Months of inventory here is sitting at 899. Median days, you can see, again, very seasonal. They were 24 days for June. Median price has kind of hung around. There are less transactions here, so it's more prone to some fluctuations, but sitting around 709,000. There are some really nice waterfront properties in Muskoka that can skew these numbers from month to month as well, so take everything with a grain of salt here. So as long as that makes sense, we'll dive into some smaller communities in Simcoe and Muskoka here. So let's start with Barrie. Barrie, months of inventory, you can see is actually 5.68. So we're more so in that balanced market than anything. It has come up. We've been playing balance for a little while here between 3 and 6 months of inventory. So we are on the higher end of what we've seen lately. So if you're a seller in Barrie and you're like, what's going on? It's a little bit slower than I was expecting. Yeah, months of inventory, there's more supply. Buyers have more options. So this is where positional pricing really comes into play. Just because your neighbor who has the exact same house as you sold for a certain price 3 months ago doesn't necessarily mean you'll get that price today. And that's a tough one to swallow, but it's just the fact of the market that we're in, right? If we're slightly trending downwards, which means prices don't stay the same. They might dip a little bit in the short term. In the long term, they're gonna come back up. It's a matter of time. Active listings, you can see, and this has probably contributed to our months of inventory. For Barrie, we are at 1,153 for June. That's a lot of listings in Barrie. Median days on market has had its moments, but we're sitting around 22 days. And the median price here, you can see, has sort of trended downwards a little bit throughout the year. So we hit a low In May at 690, June we came back up to 704, but you know, things are trending down slightly. It's not panic, it's okay. We're just slowing down a little bit. You know, let's pop over to Collingwood. So Collingwood, a little bit higher here for months of inventory. You can see they're at 18 months of inventory in March. Again, Collingwood is fairly seasonal, but kind of in reverse. A lot of skiing in Collingwood, so there's a lot of activity in the winter. And then Bodie in the summer. Spring and fall kind of taper off a little bit, I find. But for June, we're seeing it right at 599. So right at that 6-month mark, tilted a little bit, you know, towards buyers, just into that buyer's market. Median price has kind of been all over the place, but still, again, we're trending downwards. I don't see this trend continuing in the long run, but it's good to keep in mind. Number of active listings for Collingwood is 413 for June, and median days on market sitting around 34. Let's do a couple more in Simcoe, and then we'll pop over to Muskoka. So months of inventory in Midland, sitting at 5.10. So we're in balance, leaning towards buyers. You can see the last few months have been a little all over the place. We were at 4.3 in March. We were at 3.4, almost a seller's market in February. And then we shot up to 7.27 in April. In May, June, we're back kind of in that balanced territory. Our median days on market here has had some high moments, but we're sitting around 21 days right now. Our median price, a small trend downwards, but holding fairly steady at 507, 500. Houses in the fives seem to be kind of that magical area in Midland, where as long as they're priced appropriately within that range, they tend to move fairly quickly. Anything below that too is usually a fairly quick sale. Active listings, you can see here, we had a big dip, and that contributed to our months of inventory coming down a little bit. But in June, 153 active listings in Midland. Here, let's pop over to Severn. We had 191 active listings in June. Months of inventory sitting around 7.35, just into that buyer's market. You can see throughout the year here, our median price has been trending downwards. A lot of different property types in Severn. Take all of this, especially in this area, with a grain of salt. Median days on market is really all over the place too. So there's not a lot to pull from there, but what we can pull is, you know, we are kind of in a buyer's market in Severn. We've just tipped over that mark. Now, if there's communities on here that you live in and you want to know what the stats are, again, book a quick call with me. We'll dive into it together to learn what it could mean for you. Just for the purpose of this video, we're gonna breeze through this. Let's look at a couple communities in Muskoka. So if we go to, let's do Bracebridge. Bracebridge has 237 active listings in June. They've been kind of in between, you know, 3 and 6 for the last little while. We're sitting at 6.77 months of inventory, so just again into that buyer's market for Bracebridge. A lot of fluctuations there. Muskoka can be very seasonal, although there are a lot of full-time residents in Bracebridge. You know, those seasonal numbers can affect things quite a bit. Median price, again, some fluctuations, but overall, the smallest trend downwards. Nothing to be worried about. Let's go to Huntsville. Again, very seasonal. For June, 426 listings in Huntsville. Months of inventory sitting at 8.69, so very much into the buyer's market in Huntsville. Our median days on market has come down a little bit, so the things that are being listed and priced appropriately are selling fairly quick, but still taking about a month. And then our median price too, a lot of fluctuations again with some waterfront properties there, but you know, sitting in the 600s, which is fairly decent. And finally, let's look at Muskoka Lakes. So again, Muskoka Lakes, very, very seasonal. Probably the most seasonal of everything we've touched on so far today. Active listings for June, 242. Months of inventory sitting at 7.56. Now the median price in this area is 1.485. So, you know, you've got a lot of listings in that upper echelon of the price point, a lot of high-end cottages in this area. Yeah, days on market all over the place, nothing really to pull from there, but the important number is months of inventory, so you do have some negotiating power. Median price, again, hugely affected by luxury sales versus, you know, non-luxury sales, if you will. But yeah, so this has been a just general overview of the numbers. Again, if you have questions about your specific community, links in the description. You can book a quick call with me right in my calendar. Hope you guys are having a great day. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you liked it, hit the like button. I'll use Steve Dangle here. If you really liked it, hit subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.